Hi everyone. I guess you've noticed by now that there's no music. I do apologize. I'm having some technical problems this week, as with some other things going on. So, in the spirit of Rising Stories, I'm just going to do what I can when I can. That's what entrepreneurs do. We just do what we can with what we have, right? And we go on. So I don't want to delay any further talking about my guest today. Her name is Ashlee Ammons, and she is the co-founder and COO of Mixtroz, a startup company developing an app based here in Nashville. She founded this company with her mom, and they are a powerful force. I asked Ashlee to sit down and talk to me about the ins and outs of a startup. How did she get going with a startup? Did she just fall into it? What was the precursor to all of this? What was she doing before? She talks about all of that. She also talks about who gave her first break in business. We talk about all things entrepreneur. And in fact, we are at the amazing Nashville Entrepreneur Center in the heart of downtown. If you've been following me on Instagram stories, you have seen the views every Tuesday as I am leaving this center. But I want to make sure that you are listening to the very end, because Ashlee has some great advice that she slips in to the very end of our conversation that might just change your life. So here is my conversation with Ashlee. Hi, Ashlee.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. I'm so glad we were able to connect here.
Yes.
We're at the Entrepreneurial, is that right? Entrepreneurial Center.
The Nashville EC, yes.
The Nashville. Do they have like a little acronym? Like, is it like the NEC?
Yeah, they go by NEC.
NEC.
Yeah. So I feel like it's morphed into a lot of different things, but I think the most important thing is it's somewhere you can come when you even have just had the idea. So the writing on the back of the napkin moment, you can come here then. You can also come here once your idea is up and going. So they help entrepreneurs basically at every stage in the journey to make the process easier.
Wow.
Yes.
And when did you come here? Is this where your idea started, or tell me where your idea started of what you do?
Yes, so for Mixtroz, my company, our idea started on a phone conversation in 2014. That was literally my mom and I were on the phone having a conversation about networking and connectivity and an experience we had over the weekend. And from that one conversation really led us to really start to think about how to solve the problem that we were seeing at live events. And so the Entrepreneur Center for us came in a little bit later in the journey, once we at least found our footing a little bit to figure out what we were doing. Because I think at that point we weren't even aware that there was an entrepreneur center or what its function was or anything like that. Yeah.
And you are from, where are you from originally?
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, okay. But you came to Nashville via
New York City.
New York City. What were you doing there?
So my story is interesting. So it actually does start in Cleveland from my college. So I went through undergrad at a university called Baldwin Wallace, which has just recently become a university in Cleveland, Ohio. And while I was there, I landed in an internship with LeBron James. And
wow.
Yeah. And so
like the LeBron James.
The LeBron James.
Wow.
And so that was a huge deal at the time, because he was and is like the biggest athlete of our time, and he was right there local in Cleveland, and I literally interned directly for him and his company for about 2.5, 3 years, and I stayed on 6 months post-grad. So that experience really shaped everything that came next in my life. And so after I graduated, I went on to New York through a LeBron connection. That's where that networking connectivity comes into play. And I interviewed for a job. I interviewed for 3 jobs, and the one I ended up getting was for a man who is a nightlife and hospitality owner-operator in New York City. His name is Noah Tepperberg, and the company is called Tao Group, and they are quite large now, so much so that they just got acquired 50% of the company by Madison Square Garden Entertainment for like $150 million.
Oh my gosh.
I'm still looking for a check.
Right.
And so in that role, I grew from this person's executive assistant, which was a little bit of everything. It was both personal and business, so everything to do with running his business life as well as his personal life down to the finest detail. And in 5 years, I worked my way up to director of events at that same company. And that was just by like hustling and being there and available and really pivoting my life focus to work. Like all I did for 5 years was work.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So you were devoted. You were a devoted
very
employee, and it paid off.
It did.
Then
it was that put hard work in. People recognize it. Even when you feel like people aren't looking, they are. I'm very big on that. I speak often at colleges and things, and I tell undergraduate students, you really have to approach anything like it's everything. So if you're in class, if you're on the job doing an internship and, sorting paperwork or whatever it is, an administrative task feels frivolous to you, it's not. People are looking, they're watching, they're seeing how you attack it, so they can either give you more or write you off as this person doesn't work very hard, and you can just kind of slump on through.
They're just doing enough to get by.
Exactly.
And that's not what people are looking for.
No, those aren't the promotable ones. Those aren't the ones you give amazing opportunities to. Yes.
And being patient.
Yes.
Right? So how really quickly, do you know how the jump took place? Like, was it just there was an opportunity or an available spot in the event planning?
Yeah. Like the promotion wise,
yeah.
So basically it came, they just, once they saw what I could handle, they continuously let me dabble in more, and I also always asked for more. Like if I knew there was a big event coming up, I assumed that they needed more hands. Why hire an external hand when I'm an internal hand?
Right.
So like let me handle the executive assistant roles and like an event coordinator function, because in events you can go to school for, of course, but event coursework is real life. Like there are just things that are going to come up at an event that just come with time, being in the industry, understanding the way it functions. And so I feel like I did my best apprenticeship just learning and watching and doing, minutia that no one else really wanted to do, but that really helped my career soar. And in fact, my first solo event that I planned myself was 2012 London Olympics. That big.
Oh my goodness.
From all that learning. So I literally took everything that I knew and applied it there. It went amazingly.
And it was great.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So now you're here in Nashville.
I am.
How did you get from New York to Nashville?
Yes. So my parents have lived in the greater Nashville area for 8 years. My mom was an HR executive, and her job moved us around a bit. And so Nashville was where they landed 8 years ago. And when we started Mixtroz, I was a part-time co-founder, which I now recognize there's not really anything, there's no such thing as a part-time co-founder.
Right.
And so once, it took me some time. It took about 1.5 years for me to commit to Mixtroz full-time, and it was just life circumstances and what was going on with my own career, but it was the best choice, the right choice, the track that I'm on now. And so once I jumped ship, we obviously decided that it would be easier for me to move than for my mom to move to New York. And also things like, the Southeast is a great region because it's becoming a tech hub, but also the cost of living is affordable. When I was living in New York, I was carrying just an apartment rent alone, $3,000 a month in overhead.
Wow.
So it was probably the best decision ever to go ahead and close the chapter, at least for now, on New York and focus down here.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, in a nutshell, or a little bit longer, whatever it takes, to explain to me what Mixtroz is and what you guys do.
Absolutely. So my mom and I have backgrounds in human resources and live events. And so those two things have one big thing in common, and that's the people interaction part. So my mom and I arguably are experts in people, understanding people, understanding the human asset, both, what they're doing at live events and also what they're doing inside a workplace and how to optimize that experience. And so the story for Mixtroz really comes from, at least from me, I went to a conference in 2014, amazing conference. Sarah Blakely of Spanx was the keynote. So it was my first time hearing her speak, and she told her story, and something I feel like ignited in me. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't really thinking about how to start a business or whatever, but I was just like, man, her story is amazing. I hope I can get to a story like that one day. And over lunchtime at this conference, the conference organizer said, all right, we're breaking for lunch. Go up to somebody with the same colored dot on their name tag as you. Now, this was awkward because I had went to the conference by myself, but I'm pretty extroverted. I'll talk to anyone about anything, but that tag task that they gave was awkward because it was an all women's conference. So that meant going up to somebody, looking at their breast area, saying, I'm yellow, you're yellow, let's talk about it. And I was like, that's so awkward. I'm not doing it. So I shied away from it. I went to lunch by myself, as you do in New York. I played on my cell phone, and then I went back to the conference. And my mom and I had a conversation about that later. She basically scolded me for wasting money, not networking, all those things that an HR person would do. And it was literally through that conversation that Mixtroz, or a primitive version of it, was born. And that was on November the 9th, 2014.
Wow.
And then from there, what our app does today, how it would have helped me in that scenario if we would have had it at that conference, is Mixtroz is an app that's paid for by a conference organizer, basically. So the person who's hosting the gathering. So it's free for the attendee. So they would have told the attendees, for lunchtime seating, we're going to use Mixtroz. So people go in their iPhone or their Android store, they download the app for free. They create a virtual name tag, which is their name, their email address, and snapping a selfie. And then after that, they answered 10 multiple choice questions that have been customized by the event organizer. And then through an algorithm and a weighting system, we make groups off of that data that's collected in real time.
Wow.
And then we show people when, where, and with whom they're going to network with. So what we've essentially done is done their lunchtime seating, like literally in a snap. And because everyone's doing it at once, like a groupthink phenomenon kicks in, and people really start networking and making new connections. And the amazing thing is there are then secondary connections that come, tertiary connections that come, and so on over the course of the event. And after the Mixtroz is completed, the event organizer gets all of the data that's captured.
Nice.
Yes. So it's kind of a
key.
360-degree ROI. Yeah. And to be honest, we didn't realize that there was such value in data. Like, it took us a minute to get there.
So much. Yeah, because they want to know who came to the conference, and they want to know what type of person came to the conference, and why they might come back.
Yes, and we want to give an attendee a way of answering essentially a survey in app that provides them a ROI in real time. Like, it's not like a survey that they're taking from a Google spreadsheet that goes into a depository somewhere. It is a survey that they're taking that provides an immediate result. Therefore, people are more likely to give answers that actually mirror what they're talking about, because they get the risk-reward type thing going on. So yeah, it's been a lot of things going into Mixtroz. But for us, the best thing about it has been, because we're non-technical co-founders, we came at it from a human perspective instead of a tech perspective, which is part of the reason why I think it's been well received and successful. Yeah. What would have made this easier for me? You know, they say the best entrepreneurs go from solving a problem. They solve a problem that they experience themselves. Sarah Blakely is a great example of that. She couldn't wear these white pants, and so she made Spanx. Yeah. So, you know, it's the same genesis of idea.
It is. And that's what I tell all my clients, and messages to all the people out there that are looking for something to discover or create or whatever. It's like, what problem are you solving?
Absolutely.
What is it that you're doing? What's the service? What's the problem that you're taking care of? So if you can answer that, that's your key right there, right? Do you feel like y'all are pioneers, like just kind of pushing through?
In a way, yeah, definitely.
Breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah, in a way, because frankly, it's so funny. Like, whenever I look at news all the time, like I have so many Google alerts, like it's like very overwhelming every day at noon. I get a lot of alerts, and you know, anytime I see mother-daughter or something in tech or this, I kind of always go to the article, like, oh my gosh, there's other ones, but it's an article about us at this point.
No way.
Oh yeah, like that happens often, and so
That's
awesome. It's one of those things where it's just not heard of. Like, it's not heard of that two females, minority females, who are not tech people or weren't tech people, like, figure out how to start a business and make it this far. And one thing that we've talked about that we're really going to work on as a team in 2018 is we've gotten away from celebrating the wins, because entrepreneurship is such a grind. You can forget to celebrate the wins, big or small. And so one thing that we're going to get better at in 2018 is really taking a moment to, like, smell the roses, not get lost in the roses, but like smell them for a second before we move on to the next thing.
That's good advice. Yeah, because you guys have come a long way. I mean, you just came back from
Denmark.
Yes. And tell me what happened there.
Yeah, so that was an amazing thing. And again, it all came from connections. So in May, we went to Collision Conference, which is a huge tech conference in in New Orleans, and we exhibited there. And just some of the people that we met there were part of an organization here in the U.S. called Creative Startups. They're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we applied to a pitch competition. Like, I was on an email blast and I applied to a pitch competition. We got selected in the top 5, so we went out to Albuquerque and pitched there. We won that pitch, and because of that, we then went to the global finals, which were in Copenhagen, which was amazing. And that all came from like a 2-second conversation at a booth in May that led us to November. And we went over there and we pitched specifically in a contest called Invio, which is all about experience technology, which is what Mixtroz is. And we actually won that section of the pitch. And we were the sole representatives of the U.S., which was awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we had a blast. This was an example of us smelling the roses. So we stayed an extra couple days. Like, we stayed the weekend in Copenhagen and just ran around. Because we were like, we deserve it.
That's right. Yeah. Did you like it there? Was it really cool?
Amazing. Like, I can't wait to go back. Amazing. Everything from the architecture to just their views on creative economies and supporting creators who, you know, are building technologies that aren't in your standard, like fintech or ed tech, you know, all these kind of things, supporting people who are really trying to think outside of the box and innovate. They are one of the countries I feel like that are leading the charge there. So it was amazing to be, there were 66 countries represented there. So it was amazing to be among, you know, some of the world's most creative
And
people.
you guys were the only ones
From the
represented
US.
from the U.S.?
Yeah.
Wow. And how did y'all do in that, there?
In the whole final?
Yeah.
So we were able to go and pitch there, and we did well. We got a lot of great judges' feedback. The company that won the whole thing, it was China, and they've created like a modular robot, like very far advanced tech. And we were like, like, congrats to China. Yes.
Right. And so what's next for Mixtroz now?
Yeah, so we actually just got some great news. So we've been accepted to an accelerator program out of Birmingham called Velocity. It's in Birmingham's Innovation Depot. Birmingham currently is the #1 city for millennial entrepreneurs, and so we're excited to get into another market, familiarize ourselves with another market within the Southeast. The Southeast, of course, has a special place near and dear to our hearts. We also feel very strongly about the fact that the more we all can do as companies, like once we start getting some larger exits from the Southeast, it will really put a spotlight on all of the great things that are getting done here. So we're just excited to expand Mixtroz to another market. You know, we've really, we've done a great job in Tennessee, even like Atlanta. And so Birmingham is a very next logical step for us. So we're excited because Velocity will make an investment in our company. There will also be a bit of client acquisition, I believe, with some of their enterprise partners. And, you know, just again, the opportunity to be among another cohort of creatives. I think you learn the most from other entrepreneurs, people who are in the trenches, people who understand the extreme highs and the low lows. And so we're just excited to be among, you know, a cohort of companies. Like, I feel like just great company to keep, really.
Yeah. And really quickly, I did forget to ask you, so who can use Mixtroz? Can anybody? I mean, it's a free app, right?
So it's a free app, but it's event-centric. So if a person went to Mixtroz right now and tried to download it, they could, but they would be taken to a sample event so they could see how it works. Gotcha. So it's location-based, so it recognizes when there's an event in your area, and then you're able to proceed.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And so does it have to, I guess what I'm asking is, if there is a company out there that says, you know, well, I want this for my company.
Yes.
I
hope they say that.
Yes, me too. I hope 10 of them are listening, and, you know, maybe some HR people or whatever saying, we need this for our next conference.
Yes.
So does it have to be a conference? And do you have like a quota of like, it's got to be 100 members?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually we say anything with 25 or more people. My mom always jokes that if 24 people need help mixing and mingling, they probably need a therapist of some sort, because she's a little nuts.
Right.
But I love her.
Because it's only 20. Yeah.
It's only 24. Like, come on, figure it out. So we go 25 or greater, and it does not have to be a conference. So within enterprises, we do things like, it could be team building, it could be orientation for people coming into the job, for new hires. It could be like, if you're bringing teams together from all of your regions, that's a great way to get them integrated integrated. It could be for a diversity initiative. So really, anytime that people are meeting within your company, Mixtroz is a great addition to really break down those walls and get people connected, because you don't have to just ask work-centric things. You can ask, life-centric things, because when people find out that they have a connection in common, things change. The conversation changes. I always make this example. Mixtroz is the difference between if I am in a parking garage late at night and I get on the elevator and there's like a big burly guy there, I'm probably going to, do the thing where you get on, you turn around quick and push your button and hope nothing goes wrong. However, if I get on that same elevator, same guy, and he has on a Cavs hat, that is my friend. That is my friend. I might hug him. I don't know. Yes, it's that little bit of connection that makes me feel like, oh, I know something about you. And so that is the ice that Mixtroz breaks, and what Mixtroz does, of course, with the added value of that data. We work within colleges and universities, so new student orientation. Georgia Tech is one of our clients, and we really help them make study groups within their larger classrooms. And then, of course, the conferences and conventions, and that's everything from, dedicated networking time to lunchtime seating and so on.
So if there's a university out there, they can just contact you guys. I'll have all the information on the show notes. And absolutely.
And basically I'm literally hello@mixtroz.com, and all the information about us is on mixtroz.com. And actually, we have garnered quite a bit of a social following. So we're Hello Mixtroz across social, and it's hilarious because when people see us out, it takes them a minute and then they go, "You're the mother-daughter." And so that's been interesting as well.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. So tell me, what's the best business advice you've ever gotten?
I go to church. I am pretty involved in my church, and actually on Sunday, because I feel like I get great advice all the time, and it comes from different channels always. And one of the things that I heard was God was always busy, but he was never in a hurry. And that is some sage advice, not only for life, but for business as well. So there is something about being busy but not in a hurry. Like, you can't hurry to build a business that's going to be something. It's something that takes time. I think when we first got into entrepreneurship, we knew this journey would be hard. We knew it would be arduous, all these things, but it's been way harder and way more arduous and way more emotional than I think we could have ever thought. But without all those trials and tribulations, we would never be where we are today, which is building a company, gaining notoriety, getting accepted to pitches and accelerators, and we now speak, and we've been in Forbes twice, and all these things that are happening. So that's something that comes with time. It comes with you being able to tell a real story around why your business makes sense and why it helps people, and why you are the best people to execute it. And so now with being busy and not hurried, we have that.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Love that. I love that answer.
I get a word sometimes. I'm like, oh, yes.
Favorite answer of all times when I've asked that question. I mean, there's a lot of great business advice, but that's really good. Okay, Ashlee, I always ask a few things. One is, what is your favorite Nashville restaurant?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Big Shakes.
I have heard about this.
Yes, so Big Shakes. So I'm actually in Franklin.
Okay.
But I'm going to say that's Greater Nashville because it only takes me 15, 20 minutes to get down here. But Big Shakes is amazing. So hot chicken. So obviously hot chicken in moderation for many reasons.
Right. Because it's fried hot chicken.
It's fried hot chicken.
For those of you who don't know, it's hot fried chicken in Nashville.
And I want to tell people, please don't get it at KFC because it's going to really jade your perception of what it is, but it's amazing. And another thing I really respect is the entrepreneur that's behind Big Shakes. He was actually on Shark Tank, and he was on Shark Tank, and I don't believe he got a deal, but after he was on, his business completely blew up. He's been expanding to different markets. Like I think he has one in Lexington now as well. But food is amazing every time.
So they have hot chicken, and do they have anything else?
The other big thing is, so they have hot chicken, but they also have this amazing thing called a shrimp burger.
Oh.
Amazing.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Shrimp burger. Okay.
And it's
is it
amazing.
Spicy too?
Yes.
Oh, I love spicy shrimp.
Yes.
I'm going to check that out.
It's amazing. So yes, I would highly recommend that.
That's a great recommendation. Thanks so much, Ashlee, for agreeing to do this. We're at the Entrepreneur Center, and it's been noisy and fun and quiet and all at the same time, and it's great. So.
Well, the pleasure was mine. Thank you so much for having me on. And for anybody listening out there, if you want to start something, just start.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Rising Stories. Ashlee was a great guest. She loved sharing her story, and I loved hearing it. It was so interesting, so many facets to her life that have all pointed her to where she is now. And I'm super excited to watch them and continue on hearing great things about what they're doing. So if you are interested and you have a group or maybe a university, or maybe you're in charge of a large organization, I would love for you to connect with Ashlee and try out Mixtroz. It sounds like a very fun thing. I'm going to link a video to the description notes below, a couple of videos, I think, and they should kind of answer some questions that you might have about the app. It's very fascinating, and I'm so excited to know her, and I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Thanks so much for listening, and keep rising in your story.